Okay, so we've covered CRM in other sessions, but we're going to specifically focus on customer service and CRM on this session. Okay, so course intent, understand how CRM supports. Just let somebody in there. So understand how CRM supports customer service and how it basically is used for CRM is used for automation and compliance. Sorry, not compliance, complaints. CRM is also used for tracking communication, and we're going to look at that as well, and managing leads. So if you have a little recap then. So what we've learned about customer service um, or customer relationships. We looked at basically email marketing and how it's used for email marketing in the previous session. So basically, we're building up our knowledge of how these CRMs are basically important in different parts of our business. So the email marketing side, the promotion side. We looked at like a social media planner specifically on Facebook, but there's other planners that we can use. Just to remind everybody, just put yourself on mute because you get background noise. CRM and customer service. Okay, so CRMs also help nurture relationships by tracking preferences, sending timely follow-ups, and supporting personalized communication. So this builds trust, encourages repeat engagement, and strengthens long-term loyalty. Three different things that we looked at, three different types of CRM: operational, analytic, and then collaborative. Okay. So although it says here different types of CRM, most CRMs have all three. Okay. So it's a combination of all three. So when it comes to operational, an operational CRM is one that focuses on the features, automation, and operational elements that you need basically to run your business. So you might have functionality for communication between your team members, like chat functions, email, sharing documentations, and such, and then storage as well. Analytical, the main focus of analytical CRM is to provide you with insights and information and useful data. Again, it could be a part of the same CRM, and collaborative as well. The CRM that is basically allows the this company to work together and then access data of the customers of the potential customers as well and helps you to work together. So is there an all-in-one? So there's lots of CRMs out there, and previously we did do a bit of research and look at various CRMs as well. Okay, so we're going to skip this task because we did do this task before. Customer service, if we focus on customer service now. So customer service is the support you provide to customers at any stage of their purchasing journey, whether it's before they've made the decision or after they've completed their purchase. It plays a significant role in shaping your brand and influencing whether customers choose to recommend you to others. The best, the better your customer service, the better your business will perform. So why does it matter? We've got some stats here. So basically, 80% of consumers feel more emotionally connected to a brand when its customer service solves their problem. 30% of customers are willing to pay more for excellent service, which is a 6% increase over 2019. And 86% of buyers say they'd pay more for a great overall customer experience. Up to 94% of customers are more likely to repurchase after a positive customer service experience. Consumers who feel a company cares about them emotionally are much more likely to stay loyal and buy again. Poor customer service or unresolved complaints significantly increases the risk of losing customers and damaging reputation. So with any business, there's always going to be people, consumers, customers who are not happy. Okay, you can't you can't satisfy everybody, right? So if you've run a business or you've been working for a business, you'll know that it's not easy to satisfy everyone. Okay, however, it's about personalization. It's about that personalized customer support. Okay, understanding that everyone's different, everyone's gonna expect different things, and a CRM helps that. Okay, so personalization matters in customer service. When we understand the customer's history, we can give more relevant advice and provide a service that feels human and thoughtful, which strengthens relationship. So we looked at the five P's before. We're going to revisit. So the first one, product. This is your core offering, basically what you're trying to sell. And even if it's a service, it is still considered as a product. So this is the first point at which the potential customers begin to judge and compare you with others. They're assessing whether your product meets their needs, offers value for money, and gives them a reason to choose you. So that experience starts quite early. So from a customer's experience perspective, this is your opportunity to demonstrate your expertise and show that you're a trustworthy professional who understands your industry and the product inside out. So product knowledge is very important. Price. Okay, so price can be a difficult thing to get right. You need to cover your costs and also ensure that you have enough margin to make a profit. At the same time, you must consider the market, what consumers expect to pay, and the impression your price gives about your brand. If the price is too high, your product may become inaccessible to everyday consumers. If the price is too low, customers may question its quality and reliability. If you run constant offers, your brand can appear desperate and lose credibility. And so we all understand that, right? So it's about getting that balance. Obviously, producing a product is going to cost you. Okay. So it's understanding like, how can you make a profit at the same time not seem desperate by giving lots of discounts, not pricing it too high that people who want to buy it can't afford it, and then also if you lower the price too much, then obviously people start thinking it's a cheap product. So getting that right. So one way of doing that is looking at your competitors, seeing the market, understanding where your product's sitting in the market. Promotion. That's another P. So promotion is how you market, advertise, and also bring your product into awareness of your consumers. Your marketing and advertising activities play a major role in promoting your product, services, brand, and business. The approach you choose will depend on your budget, your target market, and where your customers are more active or most active. Okay. So basically, when it comes to promotion, it's about targeting your audience, knowing where they're spending time, giving what they're basically looking for, and encouraging your customers to um, basically want your product. Okay. Take advantage of that promotion. It's about exposure. Finally, the place. Okay. So how you get your product or service to the customer matters. It must be available in the right place at the right time in the right quantities. When you think about the place, consider your distribution channels, location, logistics, service levels, and how widely you want to reach your market. So, from a customer's perspective, they really want clarity on how the product got to them in the first place. Where is it from? How it was produced? All of that matters. Ethical production of a product. Younger generation, they really care about certain things like how is it impacting the planet, for example. If you can show that, that's a great thing. But also part of place is about how do you position your product in front of your customers. Okay, so there's various things that you may think about, like for example, do you deliver? Okay, and which areas do you deliver? So even if you're thinking about like place, as in putting your product in a shop front, you also have to think about people who order online. They're basically going to view it on a website, right? So how do you place your product on the website? And then it's also about delivery. What are you charging for delivery? What's the shipping cost? How can the customers receive or collect your goods? How can they find you? You know, where can they find the product? So all of that, the logistics side, all of it, from the production to placing the product in front of the customer, whether it's online or offline, is all covered within place. Then it's the people. So for your staff, you need to consider training because they need to know, they need to have product knowledge. They need to be able to answer questions, targets and goals. They need to know what they're aiming for, what kind of sales they're looking for, and then upselling as well. It's not just about selling a product, but it's about continuing that journey of purchasing. Okay, so they may be interested in one introductory product, which may lead to another product purchase, and that would be an upsell. And then the overall skills as well. So basically, when you're working with people with this marketing mix, people doesn't just refer to your customers, it also refers to your staff and the wider team. So it's everybody making it happen. So for customers, you need to understand what they want, what they need, what attracts them to your brand, and what keeps them loyal. And that is for the team to understand. And from the customer's perspective, obviously, you're thinking about your target audience. Who are they? What are their demographics? What is their pain points? How does your product solve their problem? How can you market to them? And what's going to keep them coming back? So the five P's are important, and then the CRM basically integrates a lot of this. So it basically shapes how the business presents itself, how it supports its customers, but also the staff, so that they can deliver. A CRM system helps bring all these elements together by organizing information, improving communication, and ensuring a seamless customer experience. So now if we dive deeper into customer service specifically, in order to provide the best customer service possible, you need to have a strategy that covers reliability, responsiveness, assurance, and empathy. So we're going to go through each one of these in a second. So as with most elements of your business, these areas are the ones that you need to work out initially and then improve and develop as you continue to expand and grow. Your CRM will play an integral part in setting this up and manage the flow of communication. So when we look at just reliability, it's about whatever promise you make to your customers, you basically need to fulfill those promises, right? So they feel that you're reliable. If you're going to deliver a product, it needs to get on there on time. The message needs to be consistent, the quality needs to be consistent, so that the customers can rely. Okay, they don't have to chase you for delivery. Oh, I've ordered something, it hasn't got to me yet. Payment's taken, but purchase hasn't gone through. There's some problems with the website. It's suddenly shut down. There's all sorts of things can go wrong within a company, within a business. Sometimes it's staff sickness, sometimes it's technical issues, sometimes it's to do with the product delivery, third party. Sometimes it's not in your control, okay? But the customers may or may not understand, okay? You need to basically put it out there. This is the problem that we faced. I do apologize. You need to be apologetic. However, you're going to lose some customers because of that. Some customers are going to be okay with it. But it's about reliability. A reliable business earns trust, loyalty, and repeat customers. Unreliable ones struggle with complaints and poor reputation. And usually, if you're genuinely doing things right and something goes wrong, customers would understand if you've already kind of proved yourself. But if you're struggling to keep consistent service because of laziness, it could be like poor management, it could be systems that are out of date, all of this stuff, customers will notice. People aren't dumb. People also have, jobs. They also are using their own CRM systems. They may be in a role where, they understand what's going on, right? So you can't fool people. You have to, the best thing to be is honest. Okay, just be honest and explain to a customer if something's going wrong, why is it going wrong, and obviously apologize and see if you can fix it. So if you are providing a broadband service, for example, and you sold to a customer the broadband service, but the engineer didn't turn up, what would you do? You'd have a customer complaining, engineer didn't turn up, supposed to turn up today at 9 o'clock. I took a day off from work, whatever, right? You have to be apologetic. You have to understand what the problem is. You may have to ask questions that are open-ended so that you get information, and then try to solve that problem. How do you solve it? You would basically, schedule a new date, create a new appointment in the CRM. You would basically tell them that you're giving them a discount or you're providing a dongle or something, so they can basically carry on the service without the disruption. In the meantime, you're basically arranging that new call and making sure that you flagged it up as an issue that happened, so it doesn't happen again. And you also could send it to the complaints department. They could look into it. Who was at fault? Did the engineer basically slack? You need to find the problem because it will happen again and again. And reliability, a CRM will help you to maintain that by finding the actual issue. Responsiveness, again, responsiveness is linked to how quickly and effectively a business responds to its customer inquiries. And obviously, a CRM helps you to do that because you can see things, notifications pop up, where you have to respond, where, how long it's been since the response. All of that is in the CRM, which helps anybody who's working with the CRM to make sure, monitor, and make sure that the responses are given at the right time. And obviously, there's multiple people and multiple different channels by which you can communicate: email, chat, social media. So you've got to think about all that, and CRMs manage that for you. Empathy, having that emotional connection with your customer, understanding where they're coming from, listening before responding, acknowledging any inconvenience. Like I said before, apologizing, saying something like, I understand this must be frustrating, and beginning to understand from their point of view and to solve the problem. That is very important. Customers don't want to feel like, it's their fault. Okay. Sometimes it is their fault, but they'll always say it isn't. Okay. Nobody likes to think it's their fault, but sometimes it's a user issue. So how do you solve that? Well, you provide help guides, you provide support, maybe, take control of the system and, do it yourself. But there will be support in place to basically, solve the issue, but you just need to kind of maybe escalate it to the right department. There's various things that you need to do. Obviously, we're talking about digital marketing, but alongside your digital marketing, there will be, um, connections, communication with your customers, whether it's through social media, whether it's over the phone, over email, and all of this will happen within your CRM. Okay, so obviously your CRM can't be emotional or empathetic or anything, but it may have like responses that are already in there, like kind of template responses that you can use, which may be kind of tailored in such a way where you are, saying the right thing basically. So the CRM, even though it can't doesn't have that emotional intelligence, somebody can input that information in there for you so that you respond correctly. Knowledge, very important. So if you think about brick and mortar business, say somebody walks into a store with a complaint, obviously you have to have the knowledge to be able to deal with that. But just imagine somebody just walks in to understand a product. Okay, they're asking questions about a product. Like if you go to PC World and ask questions about a laptop, you've chosen two laptops, you want this one and that one of them, but you don't know which one to buy. Now you're asking which one's more powerful. How comes this price is 179 and that's 250? What's the difference? Why is it more expensive? When people ask these questions, obviously, whoever's working there, you're expecting them to have knowledge about computers. You're expecting them to understand what a RAM is, what a gigabyte is, what a USB port is. If they don't have a clue, obviously there's a problem there, right? Knowledge issue. And that comes from training. So when it comes to social media marketing and providing information on social media about your product, promotions and things like that, again, it's important to understand your product, understand who your customers are, understand what their needs are, understand the business inside out, what you're providing, all the features of your product, how your product works. All of this knowledge is important. Like even the legal side of it. Like if you're providing a product that is recreational, like for example, it has CBD within coffee, and somebody asks a question around the science behind it or how it's put together, or is it something that's going to make them drowsy, you need to know that, right? You need to understand your product. So knowledge is very important, and also policies is important, understanding your policies, refund policies, things like this. Again, CRM can help you with all this, because all that data, knowledge, training material, all of that could be in your CRM. Okay, so it takes out a lot of the issues of having to go to different systems for different things. So if we think about a business, okay, every business that you look at, they have various things. They have communication, reliability, responsiveness, and personalization, right? So we've got a little task here. So choose a business you have interacted with recently, online or offline. Evaluate how effectively they demonstrated each of the four customer service elements: communication, reliability, responsiveness, and personalization. For each element, answer the following questions. What did the business do well? What did they improve on? And would better use of a CRM have improved their customer experience? So knowing what you know about CRMs, how could a CRM help them? It could be they use one already, maybe they're not using it properly, or maybe they're kind of evolving. But imagine they don't use one. How can a CRM help them? Okay. So think of a experience that you've had with a company. It could be a shop, it could be a company that you've called and had interacted over the phone. So it's a matter of finding that business. You just have to think a little bit back to when you communicated on the phone, maybe went through customer service. How was the communication? Were they reliable? Were they responsive? And did they personalize their messages for you and solve their problem? Now, let me give you an example. I yesterday contacted GoDaddy because I basically paid for a broker service for a domain about 3, 4 months ago. But it was a bit of a mistake because I went into the wrong GoDaddy account and I didn't know how quickly the purchase would take place. I literally had to click on a button and the money was taken from my account. So I didn't even have time to think about it. It was so swift, but that was a problem. The payment went straight out, and then I realized I'm in the wrong account. So I contacted the customer service. There was a little chat bot at the bottom right corner. It opened up. It was an AI bot. When I see an AI bot, I usually type in human or human needed, and the AI bot realizes what you want and says, "Okay, please wait until we get a human to respond to you," and then it actually bypasses the AI and goes to a human. So I basically talked to somebody and I explained it. They said they'd refund me, but it never happened. So the money didn't come back into my account. And yesterday I contacted them again and I explained the situation and asked for a refund. They said it doesn't cover in the refund policy. It's outside the refund policy. But I said, look into your system, look into your history, and you'll see that I have asked somebody for a refund the probably minutes after I actually made the purchase. So you need to look into that. And they basically escalated it, put it as an exception, and I got an email saying I'm going to get a refund in the next 5 days. Okay. So that was my experience. Well, it started off negative, but if I do get a refund, I'll overlook the negativity, thinking that again it was resolved and they must have found it in their CRM that I did communicate with them minutes after I purchased, and they made that exception. So overall, responsiveness was there, personalization was there. They were being empathetic. Reliability, well, it depends on if I get the refund, and if it's swift. Communication was there. So overall positive. Reliability wise, questionable because they, you know, didn't do it the first time around, but they resolved the issue afterwards. So this is me ask, if I was to do this task, that's how I would have basically answered these questions. What did the business do well? They followed up on the previous issue, um, and they resolved my issue. They communicated politely, with respect, and they had patience. So that's what they did well. What could they improve? Maybe they could have a pop up when you're purchasing a domain service, like when you click on a button, a pop up comes up, please confirm, or something like that, that you want to make this purchase. So another added step, so it doesn't quickly kind of take, like charge a customer without them having a moment to think. What else could they improve? Well, they could check their refund system, like why didn't the refund happen in the first place? They could look into that. How would they? How would better use of a CRM have you improved the customer service? If I could actually see the previous conversations as a customer, then that would be good. But there was no history from my side, so that a CRM that allows that maybe. Another thing they could improve is not be so reliant on AI chatbots, because obviously that's not a lot of people like maybe out of hours, I understand, but when you're calling at 8 p.m., you shouldn't get a chatbot, right? Especially when a lot of this customer service is outsourced to places like India, where the hours kind of can be 24/7. So not to automate certain things like customer service to an extent that it's not losing the personal touch. Because if you don't plan out your AI chatbot properly, what's going to happen is it's not going to have that personal. It'll just give generic answers, and it's frustrating. Okay, so if it's a good AI chatbot that understands it, almost like intelligent enough to, like, because when you're setting up a chatbot, you're giving it all the possible scenarios and what it should say if it hits a certain scenario. It's like a mind map. And if it's not designed properly, then it's not gonna do what it needs to do. So how do the CRM improve? Maybe send out emails of apologies, maybe kind of give an update on certain things, like for example, collect feedback, for example. So I never got a form to collect feedback about that call, but if they sent me a quick, like not something that takes ages to complete, but a quick feedback pop up that comes up as soon as I close the chat, and I just have to put a smiley face. If you've been on an Emirates airline flight, right? So you would have seen when you land, it's like you get little feedback um, thing, and it says it's got these four or five faces: happy face, kind of content face, really, really happy face, sad face, and all this. And you just click on the face, basically. That's a really easy way of collecting feedback. It's simple. It doesn't take too much effort. You just literally click on the happy face or the sad face. So something like that would have been a good improvement on the CRM from the customer's perspective, right? So that would be my answer. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to just think about an experience that you've had, and then try to answer these three questions and looking at those four different elements as well. Okay. Does everybody know what you're doing? Any questions? All good? Okay. So 10 minutes to do this task, and then share in the chat what you've accomplished. Read of what everyone's written. So everybody's experience has been different, and they've basically shared how CRM could be more effective. So just read the part about the CRM specifically, and just try to understand how the CRM fits into this. Okay. So what we're going to do now is look at automation. So let me just go back to slide.
Is it okay if I still add mine? I'm just ready to upload
Yeah,
mine.
yeah, yeah. Feel
Okay.
free to add yours when it's ready. Okay. So automation and tools. Okay, so you've got CRM automation. Has anybody had experience of interacting with an automation from a CRM? Hands up if you have. Anyone? Okay, so let's see,
Yes.
Holly, Sarah as well, Sarah, sorry, Claudia. Okay, so let's say Claudia, if you want to share your experience with an automation.
Uh, my accounting company, Crunch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they have a combination of personalized emails and also automated emails for confirmations, the VAT submitting to HMRC or um, the other accounting tasks, you know.
Yeah. What was the experience of it?
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make abuse of automation.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, that's good. Right. Suzanne, did you have your hand up before? Can't remember who it was now. You're on mute, Suzanne.
Sorry, yeah, I think they're quite annoying at times, really. I think you want to kind of put forward your specific issue, and they're often not like, they're too generalized. They
Mm,
don't really answer what you want to ask. I don't know.
yeah.
They,
Yeah.
yeah, they can be a little bit helpful sometimes, just giving like um, parts of the websites that you can go to that can help you.
Mm,
But I think often they're like
annoying.
they just don't reply to personal issues that you have. I think they're hard work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with my, if I talk from my experience, like you could just think about like when you call the GP, right? Especially after COVID, since COVID, like when you call the GP, you have to call in 8 in the morning to get an appointment, right? But if you hang on, you probably be on a like waiting, like you hear some music and you're waiting. Even that is automation in a way because you're having to press one or press two to get to the right department, right? And sometimes I'm sure you've all experienced it where it cuts you off as well. Like halfway through it, you pressed two, then you went to nine, and then you're waiting, and it's like you've been on there for 15, 20 minutes, and then it suddenly drops off. So it can be frustrating, and sometimes if you have to repeat yourself, it can be frustrating. So that kind of, automation on a phone call, uh, with like recorded messages, obviously it's all recorded. You're not speaking to anybody, directly, so there's no human connection, and it can be very frustrating because you want to talk to somebody, right? And explain the situation. It could be an emergency, might not be in the right situation to just kind of wait and wait and wait. So there's that. So it definitely can be frustrating. And take that online because obviously a lot of these services now, even the NHS, they want you to use the NHS app. They want you to basically, they expect you to have the knowledge of using a computer, you being able to fill in forms online, being able to use an app. A lot of people don't, but they're pushing towards that because in an ideal world, like everybody would have IT skills and everyone would know how to use a machine at a bank or an app to book their appointments, but it's not the case. So people struggle. However, sometimes it's that technology barrier. Okay, that is the hurdle. Okay, the tech hurdle, so it's the user who's getting frustrated because they don't know how or they don't have the skills. But sometimes it's just the generic kind of customer service model that they've put together through a chatbot or something that's taking you through a system so they can cut costs. Okay, so they don't have to have like a number of people who are working and you know So it can be frustrating. Automation is good if you've planned it well, okay? But I think also the customer should have an option, okay? So it should be like, do you want to go through this system and get it resolved and it might be quicker, or do you want to wait for somebody human, basically? So giving them an option helps. Okay, so let's see what everyone's writing. Okay, so unfortunately we didn't have okay, let's go down a bit. My friend's GP started using a CRM, I think, with some sort of signposting bot. Yeah. But as it over time, what you'll realize is it'll get better because of AI. Okay, as machine learning progresses and as it educates itself, it will get better, and you won't be able to tell the difference. Holly, you got your hand up.
Yeah, previously, another dog groomers that I worked for, we had like automated text message reminders
Okay.
to that we would send out a couple of days before someone had an appointment to, remind them that they'd got that appointment.
Yeah.
And we also took automatic deposits,
Hmm.
and that was all through a CRM. And that
Cool.
kind of automation is so useful because
Good.
it means you don't miss anybody
Mm.
and it means you can have time to do other things. So I think there's definitely good automation and automation that's highly annoying when you just, as a customer, want to speak
Yeah.
to a person.
Yeah, I think there's a number of factors. One obviously being which CRM are you using? Are you using a latest one that has all the functionalities, something that's easy to understand, easy to train? Because if the customers are struggling with your CRM, it could be it's out of date, it could be it's not um, ideal for you, but it also could be the people who've put things together didn't have a clue how to do it, or the training was not provided, right? So they don't know how to use it properly. Um, Obviously, if you're putting a certain system together within the CRM, so how to kind of do the customer service, right, has to go through some testing, right? If nobody's tested it, then that's a problem as well. So yeah, so let's have a look. Feedy's just sent something in. So if you're sending things in, like I just encourage everyone to look at each other's work. Um, I will look at yours, Feedy, in a second. I'm just going to carry on, but feel free to look at your peers' work and give feedback as well. It's always encouraging and helpful. Right, so CRM automation. Automation reduces workload, it speeds up responses, and ensures no customer inquiries are missed. Automation isn't about replacing people, it's about helping the team focus on meaningful interactions. So sometimes an organization may automate things, but then they haven't really improved their customer service side when it comes to the human level customer service. And that's not how it's supposed to be. How it's supposed to be is you're saving time in one way, but you're freeing up time as well. So that free time that you have now should be kind of focusing on providing better customer service or providing some other part of the business where you were lacking. Now you're kind of solving those problems because you've got more manpower or woman power. Okay, so it's about that. But sometimes you see automation happening and they're getting rid of staff, and then what happens is there's no improvement in other areas of the business. Actually, there's less staff, so more stress. And automation, you can't just leave everything to automation, right? So ways CRMs can be automated. Automating the emails for confirmations, updates, and follow-ups, that works. Okay. You can have it generic, confirming confirming certain milestones in the process. You can even customize that, put the person's name in there, which is easily done. So automated emails is mostly fine. Sometimes it can be a problem. For example, De Montfort University recently sent an email saying that my cousin got an unconditional offer, congratulated him and everything, but it was a marketing email, and the way it was written, it seemed like he'd already got the offer, but he hadn't. Okay, so I called them up, and they basically said that actually that was a marketing message, but the marketing message congratulated him on getting a place before he actually even got a unconditional or conditional or an unconditional offer. So something went wrong in, sending out emails at the wrong time. So even when it's automated, things can go wrong like that, where people are getting information that they shouldn't have. Again, it's about confidential information as well. Is your automated system giving out the wrong information? Is it giving out information that needs to be private? You've got to think about all this. So chatbots handle basic inquiries, and a lot of us have experienced chatbots. They can be very generic. Sometimes they just forward you to a help section. There's a company called Podia, which is like a learning management system. So you create courses, you upload it there, a bit like Teachable, and you can basically create courses and sell them. Now, when they first started as a startup, they had a good offer on. I think it was like $39 for the month, something like that. Actually, it wasn't 39. It was a lot cheaper than that. It was about, I think, about $90 for the year. So it was very cheap. So I jumped on, I started creating courses on there and everything. And at that first initial stage, they had about 5 or 6 people in the team, and they had their pictures on there, and they were doing the customer support as well as running the business. Okay, so it's an online business. They created a CMS, content management system, or an LMS, actually, learning management system, where you could create courses, and they were promoting it, and they were there. Like literally, the CEO was there in the chat. The other people that were part of the team were in the chat, and they were solving your problems. You were just basically chatting, and they were solving, and they were quick at solving problems as well. As time went on, they got bigger. A lot more influencers started talking about them, comparing their products with Teachable and other products you can buy, Thinkific and all this. Pody started getting popular, the user base started growing, and with that, they automated their customer service, and now you have to talk to a chatbot. Yeah, the chatbot then kind of forwards you to help documents. So the human element's gone. So if you're trying to talk to a human, good luck. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, over time, what they've done is to make it easier for them, because if you're running a business, ideally you don't want to be there all the time, right? A good business is where you can basically walk away from it and it's still making you money. Okay. So with that in mind, certain elements of the business would basically have to be automated, right? If you provide a help section with FAQs and everything, and it's really good, and it links to videos and everything, then you can kind of step away from being there, if you've put a chatbot in and everything. And that's what they aimed for. And they did it really well as well. So they had a YouTube channel, they had loads of tutorials there. But sometimes you still need to talk to somebody directly, because you don't have time to go through all that. Okay. Because you could be running a business as well using their service. Okay. So if you don't have the luxury of time to solve an issue, you need to talk to them. And if you're running your business using their software, then there should be a direct connection, right? And I think a lot of companies now see that as like a VIP service, which they offer on the enterprise level. Like if you're subscribing or you're paying for a payment, like a package, then there'll be like an enterprise package, and that's where you're basically paying for the premium service of customer service. Okay, so for that attention, for that human element, you're being charged. Now, that's from a customer's point of view. If you look at it from the business perspective, it's about offering your customers automation and hoping that everything's working fine, testing everything. But if they really want that customer support and direct communication with you, then they may have to pay a premium. Okay. Some businesses, some business models, it may work. Now, your CRM could help you do that, because you could basically section off different packages and basically segmentation of your customers. And if your customers are VIP or they're on a premium package, then when they requires support, you basically have a direct line, or you have a direct email or something where they're talking to a human. Okay. So in that way, you are still giving them options. And those who are dedicating, paying more, who are actually investing more into your business, they're getting what they need, and they're not going to complain. So it's about giving people options, and the CRM can also do that. Right. So carrying on. So now if you think about automating the website, well, we all know chatbots, they're on the website usually, FAQs, knowledge bases, and internal workflow automation. Okay. So customers don't care what time of day it is. So it could be like, I've been on platforms at 2 in the morning and basically contacted customer support. If you have a question or complaint, basically you're going to be there, and your expectation is that there is a 24-hour service, right? Sometimes there isn't, and it says like we start, we're away from right now, we'll be back at 9 a.m. And Podia did that at first. Okay, there was certain hours where you couldn't contact customer service, but you could send an email through the chat, they would get it and they'll respond back to you. So the expectation nowadays, the expectation, especially with automation, is instant. Okay, because you've got chatbots and everything on websites even, and you don't even have to do anything. Some websites, you have like a pop-up and it says, how can I help you? Right? I'm sure you've seen that, right? Where you haven't even asked for help and they're just kind of there. It's like when you walk into a shop and you're not even buying anything, you haven't touched anything, you're literally like just looking around, and somebody will walk over to you and say, hi, how may I help you? Can I help you with anything, right? Sometimes it's because they don't want somebody to kind of just hover around and steal things, but it's a part of customer service that you approach a customer, right? Some customers don't like it. Some customers just want to browse around. I don't like it. I don't like somebody coming up to me uh, in a matter of seconds, okay, after I've been in a shop. Just seems like a bit, I would say, intrusive on my shopping experience. If I need help, I'll find you. So you have to think about that, right? When you're designing your website, do you want your chatbot to pop up and say, is there anything I can help you with? Or do you want to leave it to the customer to be able to click on something and get that up? I personally think it should be the customer who decides. So there's certain things you got to think about when you're creating a website and you're providing that, okay? But it all depends on your back end. It depends on your FAQs, your knowledge base, all of this, where you can funnel people to. And if that's of good quality, then people should find the answer straight away. And if you're using AI, then it should pick up what the customer needs. And in the future, I think it's going to be even better, where customers or users or visitors to a website will be able to use their voice to explain the situation, right? Rather than having to type it in chatbot, what you'll do is you'll go to a website, say, I have my mic connected to my computer, I have headphones, but a lot of people would have the mic on a laptop, and they'll be able to hear through the speaker. So all the functionalities are there in our computers and our laptops and devices, our mobile phones. It's all there. So how it would work is you go to a site. When you go there, it would already kind of have the permissions to use your microphone or whatever, because it's basically, that's how all the devices are being developed now, so it can work seamlessly with AI. So basically, you'll go to a website on your phone, and once you're there, there'll probably be a little icon that says help, or a little mic. You just press that down and say, hi, I just wanted some information about the location of your business. And it'll speak back to you. Hi, I understand you're trying to find us. Then what I'll do is I'll send you a link to the Google Map, to your WhatsApp. please just enter your phone number. So you enter the phone number and it sent you a message with the Google map. The website is doing that, right? We haven't quite got there yet, but when you see AI being integrated more and more into businesses, it's about the customer experience. Okay. So that would be amazing where I can just pick up my phone, press a button maybe on part of Google, right? And I just say the name of the company and it takes me to the website. When I'm on the website as well, I press a button and say, oh, please, can I download the menu, please? Or however you say it, menu, download the menu, it should still do the same thing, right? It should know what you're asking for. And it shouldn't matter how you speak. If your English is broken, it should understand. And that is automation on another level where it's intelligent enough to understand what you're looking for. I have a problem with my website, the payment's not gone through, that kind of thing, right? It should be able to communicate with you with voice. That's the future of websites where the website itself, yes, it's information on a page, but it's engaging with you through voice, it's engaging you intelligently, it's sending you resources, offers that are personalized to you, right? Not generic offers. Depending on how long you've been waiting, how frustrated you are you a happy customer? It can assess your emotions as well. Is this person frustrated right now? If they are, then what can I do to make it easier? Okay, make it more pleasing for them, that experience. That is AI automation on another level, and we're going to get there. It's going to take a little bit of time, but AI is moving so fast. There's something called agentic AI now, where basically it's not just you giving it a prompt and telling AI what you want and it giving you, say, for example, if you say, create a business plan, it'll put a business plan together in text on chat, okay, on chat GPT. That is just prompting AI. But imagine if you say, create me, put together a business plan where it converts cold leads into warm, so cold traffic into warm leads with no um with no obstacles, and then it basically should be clean, it should be futuristic and that kind of thing, and you're telling it to create a landing page that does that. So you say create a landing page that converts cold traffic into warm leads with zero friction. It should be clean, it should be futuristic and trustworthy. So what you've done is you've given it context, but you've also given it something called vibe. Okay, and you might hear this vibe coding. So vibe coding is when you put in your feelings, your emotions into the code by speaking. Okay, so that is the future of AI and where everything's going with automation. Where we're at right now is basically a bit of a mix between, like chatbots and things that were there for a long time and semi-automation, kind of getting used to the whole idea of having AI within these websites, but it's not quite there. So when we're talking about social media automation, we've looked at the planners, okay, where we could automate posts. But let's think about something else. Customers expect quick replies on social media. So we're not thinking about automated posting of content. We're thinking about responses on social media at any time of the day, right? Because your customers can also ask questions within your social media posts. They may try to communicate with you. If you're not sitting there and just responding to these and you don't have anybody to do that, obviously you don't want your customers to also know that it's automated, because that would really kind of actually look bad. So that is another automation. Okay, so CRMs now are basically integrated with social media platforms such that it's allowing you to respond quickly. Okay, so on your platform, on your CRM, you may see the comments listed, and you'll be able to just click on it and respond. So you're responding through your CRM. You're not having to go to your Instagram or your Facebook and go and respond there. Kieran?
Hi,
Yeah.
yeah. So can that only happen through CRM? Is there a way to do automated replies on social media directly with the platform, or can it only happen on CRM?
From my experience, unless you've got something like, Facebook, it's got the Meta Business Suite, you'd have to go in there and see if it's got that functionality. But directly on social media platforms to automatically respond, I haven't seen that yet. Some people may correct me, because if they're using Instagram and I'm not using it as much, but I haven't seen anything automated on the actual platform. Okay. If they have an analytics side or like a business side, you can look around and see if there is any automation of, like comments. I haven't seen anything yet, but
Facebook
just
has it slightly.
okay.
Um,
What does it have?
I know that if you can have it set up where if someone comments like a specific word, it'll
Okay.
reply with like a link, or it'll automatically send them a
Yeah.
message with like a link. So if you're doing like making recipes, if
Yeah.
someone comments recipe, it'll
Okay.
send them the link. But I
Okay.
think that's the extent of it.
Is that in comments or is it in Facebook Messenger?
Comments, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I need to look into that then as well because it's not that I'm getting a lot of responses to my messages at the moment. Usually people just like and stuff, but interaction engagement is very important. And if you're at a stage on your social media where there's a lot of engagement, there's lots of comments, replying to those comments, engaging with your audience, it can be tough. It's well, not
It's
tough, but
definitely a good
time
way to
consuming.
boost like engagement, because obviously you're getting people just commenting
Yeah,
specifically because they want you to respond to it. And so you've got
yeah.
like two boosts from comments. So
Yeah, definitely. If it just gives you a link, people may just realize that, okay, that's a really smart automation. If you can make it personalized, then that's even better. But yeah, I mean, through this course, as I'm teaching you guys, I'm also kind of educating myself. I am not shy or embarrassed to say that. I always like learning. Learning is lifelong, okay? And these platforms change all the time anyway. So, when I'm going through this course teaching you, there's certain things I get curious about as well. So if you do find anything like that, even share with myself and I'll look into it and I'll try to kind of share with you anything that I learn. I am going to show you something. I keep on saying I'm going to show you something in AI and I forget. So remind me and I'll show you something quite interesting in Gemini, which is another AI application, a bit like ChatGPT. I'll show you where you can automate and actually have like almost like a mini AI bot that does things for you, but it has its own memory and it's not going to confuse it. It will on ChatGPT. What it does, it basically has a similar function, but there's a bit of a different. I'll explain that in a second. Okay, just let me just kind of get to that point where it makes sense to explain something on chat. Social media again, if I just go back to the previous slide, yeah, just look around, see if there's automation with comments. I haven't seen it, but obviously, I think it was Holly that was saying that there is a slight automation on Facebook, and I, I personally think we should take advantage of that kind of automation because it is time consuming responding to people. Right. So the next one is customer service. Okay. So obviously, when you're using CRM for customer service, you can streamline the processes, strengthen your relationship with your customers, and increase your potential profitability. And we've covered this many times. Okay. And we know that CRMs are great to do that, but customer service, a part of that comes all the other stuff like responding on social media, having a good website. All of this is a part of customer service. By keeping all information in one centralized database and using it to activate the functions you need based on each customer's situation, you can ensure that no customer is overlooked, your service remains consistent, and the quality you deliver is maintained and improved. And again, it's kind of the same information repeating over and over again in these sessions. It's about consistency. It's about having all of the stuff in one place when it comes to CRM. That's the main thing. CRM for help desks. Well, again, it's really about having a good FAQ, a good area on your website where you've got all the questions, tutorials, to answer those questions, all of that to be there within your CRM or integrated with your CRM so that you can direct people there. Okay. So when customers get in touch with you, they expect you to be able to help them. If they contact you more than once, they also expect you to know what was said previously. That's that history, okay? And all of the previous history, conversation, past interactions, all recorded. And then if you are directing people to that you're the help desk, but you can also direct people to a help section as well. So there's two different things there. But with the help desk, you need to have a history because you might be dealing with a customer today, but the last interaction could be with somebody totally different. Okay. And you don't want customers to have to repeat themselves. CRMs also for complaints. So they provide that structure, that transparency. You can find the problem because you've got the history there. Complaints can damage your business if it's mishandled. CRM ensures that every complaint is documented, followed up, and resolved correctly. It helps avoid repetition, confusion, and inconsistent messaging. And I'm sure we've all been through that where we've explained something to somebody, it didn't happen. They promised things, it never happened. We had to call up again, had to explain ourselves again. Every time you're having to explain yourself again and again, it gets even more frustrating, right? So that history is important. Logging all the complaints is important. Making sure that it doesn't happen again. Assigning it to the right team member. Tracking the progress of the actual complaint until it gets to a solution, right? All of this is important. The customer and your CRM. So why tracking communication matters? Again, I think we all understand this by now. Tracking communication is essential for providing consistent, personalized customer service. A CRM keeps a full history of the interaction, so nothing is missed. Every call, every communication through email, all of it is basically. Sometimes you got to think of this. Sometimes a customer may say something, and like, for example, how I said, I asked for the refund straight after I made the purchase. I might have said that and made it up, right? It may never have happened. Well, as a business, your customer's not always going to be right, okay? I know that there's that cliche thing that, customers are always right, but sometimes customers are not right, okay? A lot of the times customers make things up, okay? To get that additional support or whatever. Your system, if it's reliable, then it will tell you, give you the history, and you can prove that the customer didn't have that conversation, didn't say that. How did you communicate with us? By phone, by email, and you can check. You can, because all the phone calls will be recorded, all the emails will be in your CRM system, so you can see. And if the customer is making things up, obviously you're not gonna, say that to them, but at least you know where you stand with that customer, whether you give them something for free or not, whether you apologize. Well, apologies, I think you would still apologize, but at least you know that actually this customer doesn't have a genuine problem. They didn't, then you could just give the policy and could just say, look, we haven't found anything on our system, because the system, you're relying on that. If you don't have confidence in your own system, then you don't know if the customer's telling the truth or not. Okay. So communication matters. And sometimes it's just better to kind of let the customer have their way. And because you want them to return, you don't want them to be negative on social media about you, things like that. Even though you know they're wrong, even though you know that they're not telling the truth, it's better to kind of leave it, in a positive note. So that communication, how you resolved it, why you did what, all is recorded. So if you still gave them an offer, if you still solved their problem, regardless if it was their fault or not, it's all on record. And if anything happens afterwards, you can basically explain yourself. You might not even have to explain yourself because it's all in the system, right? Centralized communication, centralized customer communication. Basically, all of this is, again, repeating itself. It's all about having a central place of communication where everything has history, and it helps you identify the patterns, the needs, and the recurring issues. And that enables you to respond in time and provide good quality service. So you're basically identifying the problems, the common questions, you're creating FAQs, refining the scripts, looking at your templates and messaging, and basically customizing things. So you know those template messages, generic messages that go out, you can even customize them and make sure that they actually fit, fit for purpose, because they might not be. If you just kind of depend on something and it's not giving answers, you need to go back and look at it. Why are people still struggling? Okay, why is my customer still struggling? There must be something somewhere that's going wrong, and it just helps you to improve the service by looking at all of this. Again, personalization. One more time. It's like, you as long as you personalize things, customers are not going to feel that it's all generic, right? Um, and it's about having that full visibility of who that customer is and how you're interacting with them. And that would really help you to follow up and give them a better service. Also, it's about getting your customer feedback, whether it's complaints, whether it's positive, information that you're getting from the customer. It helps to improve your services. It helps you to see where you can basically, improve, and where things are working fine and you just needed to kind of go in that direction. So complaints are not a bad thing. Sometimes complaints highlight the issues in your business, and that can be very valuable. It could be priceless. So where customers are visiting, your website is likely to have multiple pages, and understanding where your customers go and how they behave on site can help you decide on the next steps. CRMs such as HubSpot allow you to embed a tracking code on your website, which attributes page views to individual contacts. Okay. So basically, it's a piece of code you would embed in your website, on Wix we would have to look where it is, but if it allows you, you would basically put the code in there, and using it's a tracking code, so it's like it's basically HTML code, and when somebody goes to your website, it will show where they're going, like a heat map, okay, and it will report that back into the HubSpot, okay. So on HubSpot, I think you would have to put the URL of your website, and it will give you a piece of code. You'd go to the website, you'd put that code in the website, and then on HubSpot, you'll be able to track which pages are getting what, how many hits, whereabouts on the page they're basically clicking. What you need to know, your CRM will only perform as well as you enable it to. So basically about customization, making it work for your business. If you don't, then it's not going to work for you. You have to look at the CRM and customize it to suit your business. Analyzing data before you begin, take time to review what you're currently doing and establish a clear starting point. Track your analytics and monitor your campaigns, customer service activity, and other relevant data as you go. This will show you what's working, highlight where the improvements need to be made, and also help you to make informed decisions as well. Using the information, basically, you're getting all that information. Use that information to create FAQs, resources that you can publish on your social media or your website, so that basically people can use that to solve problems, but also the information you're getting on your customers and your business can be used to create a better business experience, a customer experience. So I've got another task here. Okay, so let's see. A customer has contacted the business several times, but the communication history is incomplete and disorganized. Using the information below, your task is to rebuild the customer's communication timeline as it should appear in the CRM. The scenario is on the next page. So you must put this interaction in the correct order, identify what information should be recorded in the CRM, and explain how this helps the customer service team deliver better experience. So let's look at the scenario. Okay, so it's a mixed up order. So the agent offered a 15% goodwill discount but forgot to update the CRM. So that discount is not there, right? The customer emailed asking why their order was delayed. The customer received an automated confirmation email when they placed the order. So the order has been confirmed, but the order is delayed. Okay. The discount was not logged. Okay. So that didn't happen according to the CRM. A second agent called the customer to apologize, but they were unaware of the previous email complaint. The customer left a negative feedback on social media saying no one had responded. Okay. So just read through that. Okay. And see where it went wrong and what needs to go in place in the CRM to make it work. Okay. So obviously, there's some misinformation and there's some information that didn't get uploaded. So I want you to think about it. You can discuss it within the chat. Okay, I'm not expecting you to kind of just like think of it yourself. Have a discussion in the chat between you, and come up with the solution. Okay. Okay, let's ask a couple of people. So, Claudia, do you think you'd be able to tell me what went wrong? Where did we go wrong here in this scenario? Do you think?
Um, I think the correct order is the customer received the automated confirmation email.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the cus
Okay, so if we look at this,
the,
this
cu- the yeah,
yeah, if we look at this slide, so it says put the interactions in the correct order,
yeah.
identify what information should be recorded in the CRM at each stage, and explain
Exactly
how.
at this stage, the order was not recorded on the CRM.
Mm-hmm.
I know because sometimes it happens to me. I'm a small business owner. I have an
Yeah.
online shop, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I have to do manually these things, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I forget. I forget even to send the automated email and to
Yeah.
update everything. So this
Yeah.
is the first place when the customer support didn't update in the CRM
Mm-hmm.
about the order. So the people who were supposed to send the order didn't send the order.
Yeah.
Happened to me, you know, and
Yes.
and then the order was delayed, and then the customer left negative feedback on social media saying no one had responded. But
Mm-hmm.
no, the customer emailed asking why their order was delayed. Um, Nobody answered because there was nothing there. The customer left negative feedback on social media, and then a second agent called the customer
Yeah.
to apologize.
What about the
The
agent offered 15% goodwill? I
uh,
think that came after
it
they
can
complained.
it can have, yeah, two places. Um, the agent offered,
A 15% goodwill
yeah,
discount, but forgot to update Sarah. So they would give a 15% discount because of a
af-
complaint, right?
after the mistake, yeah,
Yeah.
happened. Um, Anyway, the last action is the second agent call to apologize, but they
Hmm.
were unaware of a previous email complaint.
Yeah. So basically, we can see from this that, things do go wrong, especially if you're not recording things on CRM, right? So forgetting that you get, updating the CRM that you're giving a 15% discount. If the CRM doesn't know that you've given that discount, it could be that you have to update the CRM to give the discount. So the discount probably never got through to the customer. Yeah. So that's going to frustrate the customer even more because they'll think that, okay, I didn't even get anything. There's like I complained about it, nobody even responded. Okay. So the CRM has been updated or the agent hasn't checked all the information properly.
Can I, can I talk about a situation that I had, which, well, I've had this a few times, but this
Mm-hmm.
particular way it happened. So I ordered a large MIDI keyboard and it got
Yep.
delivered to my house.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a couple weeks later, when I unpacked it, I realized it wasn't working. I
Yep.
first contacted the British distribution company, and they're
Mm-hmm.
very much like, if you didn't open it at the door with the delivery guy, we don't care, etc., etc. And then I decided to contact the American company, that the manufacturer,
Mm-hmm.
and they were immediately very helpful, which I found
Yeah.
sometimes is the case. And they just said, "Listen, we're just gonna send you a new one, and we want you to return the old one in a box." I didn't hear anything for a while. I contacted them back, and from what we're saying, to use the language we're learning here, that first person didn't properly enter that data, didn't properly update the CRM. But
Yeah.
because of the way the companies run,
Mm-hmm.
initially, the next person was a little bit resistant.
Mm-hmm.
And I contacted them again, and they finally they did send me the replacement, but they decided they didn't want the broken one to be sent back.
Yeah.
And sometimes when these mistakes happen, a company can be very, what's the word? They can dig their heels in and be like, nope,
Mm-hmm.
F you. And others can, I don't know, take the L if you like. So
Yeah.
it just depends.
Sometimes it's because customers take the mick as well. Like some customers actually, when there's no problem, they want another one, so they say that. So there's that kind of thing as well that frustrates the actual business, and you may get that as a business person, where customers, like there's not a problem, but they say that it's a problem.
Can I
It
just ask
happen.
something? Because just your opinion as a business owner, I've noticed that, I mean, just some businesses, you can tell that they don't, they don't trust the customer. As far as
Mm,
they're concerned, you're trying to steal something. Other
yeah.
businesses I've noticed have the opposite approach,
Mm-hmm.
but it just seems to be that and other, and they're often sort of condemned, like, I don't know if you heard about Billionaire, who decided that everybody's company, including the cleaning lady, was going to
Mm,
earn like 50K and up. And everybody said,
right.
"Oh, they're going to take the piss. Why are you giving
Mm,
them all this money?" Sorry, excuse my
mm,
language. And it,
mm,
it ended up being very successful. Sometimes that approach, then
yeah.
goodwill customer, because I've sung that company's praises so many
Mm,
times. They do great work, as
mm.
opposed to if they treated me like I was, a criminal trying to steal something from them.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I was getting at, where like I usually use my dad's restaurant as like an example to explain things, right? So during this summer season, there's lots of customers that come to Skegness from Sheffield, Derby, Leeds, those areas. Um, and they would spend time at Fantasy Island. They would go around Skegness. They'd be in the arcades all day, in the pub and everything. And then around 8 o'clock, they'd walk into the restaurant for an Indian, right? Some customers are very polite. They're okay, decent. Some customers are not that decent, and they can put a show. Um, and they could also like just kind of do certain things that you can obviously see that it's not your fault. Um, but the professional businessman, my dad basically, would just see them as a customer. And regardless of how they are, he wouldn't upset his customer. Okay. And that's why he's still around that, for 35 years, because he does not get emotional about it. He doesn't get angry about it. He understands that these customers are customers and he'll treat them like that. But me, I'm a bit different, and that's why me and my dad didn't get on that much. If I see a customer just playing up, I would just tell him to leave, right? Um, but how he works is a bit different. So when you take that kind of scenario to online, okay, and a CRM, it's a similar thing. Like ideally, you don't want to be assuming, okay. For me, at my dad's restaurant, I wasn't assuming, but I could see it like blatantly because they're physically in front of you, right? And they say, "Oh, I didn't get a drink," but you just saw them have their drink, you know. They just drank it, put the glass under the table, and said, you didn't give me my drink," but you just saw what happened. In this kind of scenario where you're not face to face with the customer and it's all online, assumptions can be made, and like with your scenario as well, like you're saying it was broken. Yeah, they can make assumptions, but a good customer service would not make that assumption, right? Customer is right. Give them the benefit of the doubt, that kind of thing. But a lot of it depends also on the capability of the business. So that UK arm of that business maybe a small sub trader that doesn't have the functionality or the manpower or the money to do a lot of the refunds. Maybe they're stocking a small amount of that product, right? For them to
Right.
send another one
It's
out to you.
it's not a huge corporation, but I guess I was wondering if there's a way that he could have like said, okay, he could have asked me to provide proof, for example, or
Yeah,
even,
yeah,
but he just treated it like he was rude, he was unnecessarily brusque, and
yeah.
I have noticed the difference between American corporations and say European the American corporations are the customer service is like years ahead, leaps ahead
Mm,
of the European ones in that sense. And it's not
yeah,
like they're not giving away keyboards, but they didn't
mm,
talk to me like I was a liar
yeah.
or a fool. So
Yeah, sometimes it comes to training. Sometimes it comes down to training. Sometimes it comes down to their systems, the CRMs that they're using. But a lot of it's to do with training. And
Thanks,
that,
please.
sorry?
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure, Claudia.
I feel it's important because some of us, many of us here, are trying to build our businesses.
Mm-hmm,
Sometimes, like in my case, a small business, it comes down to having proper processes and policies in place.
mm-hmm,
It's not that you don't want to offer the best thing. You can have a
mm,
CRM in place, but you need
mm-hmm,
to first have processes. It's a big thing, and the
mm,
policies. And
yeah.
then indeed, it can be the quality of human, both your staff and the customers.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right, Claudia, because if you have a refund policy, okay, and in that policy it says like if an item is broken, what's the scenario, like gives you a scenario, like if the item is damaged, what you need to do, and that policy is shared with the customers as well, because the policy is on the website, and then you have a like a like a manual or something, and you provide that to all the new staff, then everybody knows where they stand, right? And then if a customer, actually not a customer, if a staff member is rude, obviously that's a big no-no. But if they're saying certain things and it goes against the policy, the customer can bring up the policy and say, hang on a minute, well, I've got a 14-day money back guarantee. Or if it's here, it says clearly that if it's a damaged good when I received it, I can get a full refund and the product sent back to me. So you're right, it's about the policies in place. And if it's a small business and you still got all the policies in place, brilliant. Like I know my dad didn't have any policies or anything. It was just word of mouth. It was like literally, you know, customer's always right. Or for me, it's like, yeah, but that customer's playing up. So it was like you'd have to face the customer and just make those decisions. But in an online world, policies are very important because you don't have that interaction as much, and you shouldn't need that. You should be able to go to the policy and see if what happens if you, and all of that could be in a automation as well. So you go to a website, the first thing you click on is like I need help. Second thing you click on is so it's giving you different options, and you click on damaged goods, you click on that, then it gives you the option from the policy that this is your option now. You have a choice of getting a new one, or you basically get a refund, because it's connected to your policy. whatever options you're getting is coming from the policies. And also, like Francesca says, it's according to the trading laws as well. So if you know the trading laws, if you know, you know, where you stand in this country, that goods have to be described properly. Okay, you can't just mislead customers. And then you get an item and it looks nothing like the picture on the website. You can bring up the trading laws and you can say, look, this is like I've been misled as a customer. I'm going to take it to trading standards, that kind of stuff. As long as you know the laws, as long as you know the policies, then you can do that. Going back to our scenario, it's obvious that things are going wrong because the CRM isn't updated. The customer's already frustrated. On top of that, a second agent calls and apologizes, but is not aware of the previous email complaint, which means it's not in the system. Okay. CRMs, if you don't use it properly, it can mess it up. Okay. And that goes back to training. So, lead management is the process of capturing, organizing, and nurturing potential customers as they move through your sales. So, you're trying to convert your basically your potential customers, which is your consumers, into customers. And you need to know the funnel. You need to understand where these people are coming from, where they're going, and so on. Um, and your CRM helps you to do that. Okay, so let's carry on. Capturing organizationally. So we're just gonna go into the sales funnel and about nurturing your customers in a second, but I want you to have a little break first. So let's have a 5 minute break, okay? Because I'm just conscious of time. So let's have a 5 minute break and then we'll continue, okay? Okay, so if we just continue now. So capturing and organizing leads. So your CRM collects the leads from almost anywhere, your website, your social platforms, your email signups. Instead of manually entering the details, the CRM records everything instantly. This saves time and ensures accuracy. It also means that every lead starts with a complete profile built from real data. So they're coming from different parts of your system, your business, um, and it's basically coming into the CRM. So lead scoring is incredibly powerful. So basically, you're segmenting off your leads, okay, but you're looking at how they reacted to your content, how they came into your system. So CRM looks at every lead's activity and assigns a score. Someone who keeps opening your emails is more valuable than someone who ignores everything. This means that you can prioritize your time on leads who are genuinely interested. So understanding which leads are actually worth communicating with, and taking it to the next step with them. And then there's certain people who might not be interested. You might actually go through your leads and actually clear some people off so you're not wasting time, and your CRM is going to help you do that through a score that it gives to the leads. Tracking communication, every interaction matters when building trust. With the CRM, you can see exactly what has been said, when it was said, and what's the next step. Okay, so it creates a seamless customer experience and ensures that no one is repeating themselves. Converting leads into customers, the CRM supports the final stage of the journey by helping teams to close leads effectively, move leads through the pipeline stages, automate reminders for tasks and deadlines, and data helps to refine that future sales strategy. Managing your leads. So finally, obviously, you've got the leads. They're basically going to sit in a list somewhere, and if you know who your leads are, then you can assign the right team member to that lead as well. Centralizing your database and using automation gives you greater flexibility within your customer service processes and helps you make a more strategic decision about to run your operations. When choosing a CRM, it's important to consider the tools and features available and to think not only about how you'll use the system now, but also about how you're going to use the system in the future. Okay, so there are 4 ways a CRM can enhance customer service: sending automated emails, creating consistent communication, generating reports, and personalizing communication. Okay, so for each method, explain how a business could benefit from it and what actions or practices a business should have in place to make most of it. So I'll keep this task on the screen. I want you to basically go through each of these 4 ways a CRM can enhance customer service and just explain how the business can benefit. So for example, sending automated emails, how would your business benefit? Would it save time? Is it increasing customer experience? Is it giving that experience? Maybe it's about sending out links. There's not somebody who's sitting there and having to type. There's lots of advantages, but I want you to explain each one, how the business can benefit, and what actions or practices the business should have in place to make the most of it. So with the automated emails, it could be, you could talk about how the email should be customized to the customer, and also it could be contact information in the actual email. It could be the subject line, so they actually know what the email is about, so they don't just throw in the spam. Using a professional email, okay, so that it doesn't go into the spam. All of these things are practices a business should have in place to make the most of email marketing. But it's also about identifying where the customer is sitting in your funnel. Okay, so that's me giving you a bit of information on the first one, but I want you to do that for all 4. When you get your answers, just basically provide that information in the chat for everyone else to share. Okay, so I am going to provide you the slide, no problem. Okay, so it's just uploading and you'll be able to download it in a few minutes. So if everybody just focuses on this for the next 10 minutes, please, and share your answers in the chat. Okay, so I can see some answers to the task. Some of you doing the task and just posting in there. So read through and see if it's valuable knowledge that you can take or anything that you can relate to as well. Now, what we've covered today is basically about CRM and customer service. We looked at some pros and cons of automation, some complaints, some frustration that we have, and also CRM, how it basically is used to track communication and so on. Now, remember to do session logs as well. Now, what I want to do is I want to share like a YouTube video on HubSpot. So I'm just going to try and do this. Let's see if it works. And obviously there's loads of YouTube videos on about HubSpot, how to start with HubSpot and everything. So I want you to take advantage of all the online resources and learn in your own time. But we've got half an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can share a video that I've put together. Well, I haven't put together, but I've downloaded from YouTube. Let's see. Fonts, video file. I think I need to stop sharing that screen first. Second. Okay.
Thinking about using HubSpot as your marketing tool or CRM? Want to know what it can do? You're in the right place. We've put together a tutorial to guide you. If you're watching this, you probably know HubSpot automates marketing, sales, and services processes, bringing all your data together in one place. Today, we'll give you a quick tour of its key features, and if you want more, check out our HubSpot tutorial playlist. What's in this video? We'll start with HubSpot CRM, the core of the platform, and you can use it for free. You'll learn how to manage contacts, companies, and lists, plus import or create records manually. We'll also cover deals so you can build your pipeline and track sales like a pro. Finally, we'll explore dashboards and reporting tools to keep you on top of everything. Looking for something specific? Use the timestamps in the description below to jump to what you need. You'll also find links to try HubSpot's free CRM and to get help choosing the right plan. And now I'll pass you over to Danny, who's our HubSpot expert at CyberClick.
The first thing you need to know about HubSpot is that everything in here is powered by data. And how does HubSpot organize this data? By objects. Objects are the core data structures that represent businesses, processes, and relationships. They are basically storage containers for your data. So what storage containers do you currently have available by default on HubSpot? Contacts that store information about people, companies that store information about organizations, leads that store information about qualifying activities, deals that store information about transactions, and tickets that store information about support requests. Now, each object stores data through properties. And what are properties? Properties are these tags over here under which HubSpot stores information. Each object has their own set of properties. Now, let's dive into what properties are and how you can use them. So, to go to properties, click on the settings icon over here. Then, under data management, click on properties. Now, as you can see, each object has their own set of properties. So just click on the object and the list of properties available will display over here. Now, for each object, you will be able to find two types of properties. The ones already available for you by default, created by HubSpot, and custom properties, which are the ones that will be created by you or your team to know more about your buyer persona and that you will normally use in forms. Now, let's take a look at all the properties that are already available for you by clicking here and selecting HubSpot. Keep in mind that you can also use this filter to see all the properties that have been created by your teammates. So, for now, let's click on HubSpot and you'll be able to see all the default properties you have available. So you'll find two types of default properties. First, you'll see those behavioral properties that will help you with your reports, and that will also help you to know more about the behavior your contacts are having with your brand or your website or your emails or your communication. On the other hand, you will also find informational properties. These are properties that you can use on your forms to know more about your buyer persona when you're capturing them. So for example, you'll see company name or company size. These are properties that you can drag into your forms and use so that that information is stored under this specific tag. Now, even with all these properties, you might find that you need to create your own. So let's create a custom property. We're going to click here. Let's suppose you need to send out a survey to your clients and you want to find out how they heard about you. So we're going to name our property, how did you hear about us? And you're going to be able to find this property by this same name. Then we're going to choose the object type. In this case, it's going to be a contact object type. The brand, in case you have multiple brands within your HubSpot. The group, in case you have created a group of properties for your survey. And a quick description. Once this is ready, you're going to move to the field type. For this type of property, the most appropriate would be a dropdown. And here we'll be able to map out the options. So, for example, we'll say social media, an event. Great. Now that we have our options, we're going to go to rules These rules will vary depending on the field type you chose. In this case, the only rule that is showing me is if I want to show this property in my forms or not. In this case, I do want to, because this is a question I'm going to be asking my clients. And the only way to do that is through a form. So we're going to leave this like this. And then manage access. So you basically can choose who can access and edit your property. In this case, I'll allow everyone to view and edit. And then you'll see a preview. So this is how your property is going to look on your forms. So how did you hear about us? The label, and then the drop-down options. If you like how it looks, just click on create and you'll have that ready. In case we want to add more fields or edit this property or even clone it, we're going to have these options here. Here, you'll be able to see all of your contact records, and you'll also be able to filter them either by these predetermined fields over here or by advanced filters. So let's check each one of these. First, we have contact owner. We highly recommend that you assign a contact owner to all of your contacts so that you don't have any communication crossovers with your team. You'll come to find this option here very useful if you manage contacts daily. So for example, if you filter them only by the contacts that you own, you'll be able to see them here, have a cleaner view of your dashboard, and manage them directly from here. You can also filter your contacts by create date if you want to check what records are getting into your CRM lately. You'll find options like what leads got in today, yesterday, this week so far, this month so far. You'll find plenty of options here that will help you see how your incoming flow of leads is going. You can also filter them by their last activity date if you want to see their engagement, or their lead status if you want to filter by the stage they currently are in the marketing and sales funnel. Now let's check the advanced filters. When you click on the advanced filters, you'll see all of the available contact properties listed in there. So let's say you want to filter them by the property you just created, and you want to see all of the contacts who have filled out that field in your form. So we'll type that here. We're going to select our property. So you can filter them by people who have filled out specific options. It can be 1, 2, or many. Or simply by people who have filled out this field in a form. We won't get any answers now because the property is new, and of course nobody has filled it yet, but just so you can see that you're going to have all of your properties available here to filter. Now, let's create a custom view. This way, every time you access your dashboard, you'll have quick access to it, and you will be able to work more effectively. So we're going to click here, Add View. Here you'll see the views that are already provided by HubSpot, the admin promoted views, and also the views created by other people from your teams. But this time, we're going to create our own. So we're going to click Create a new view. We're going to name it. So let's say we always want to see the contacts that are based in the country I'm based. So country-based view. And let's say I want to share these with everyone. Or I can also create views that are private and can only be accessed by me. But this time, we'll choose everyone. We click on Confirm. Your new view is going to appear right over here. Now, you just need to select the filters you want to have there every time. So now, I'm going to look for IP country. I'm going to select the option. And I'm going to write down Spain. So now the system has filtered all contacts by their country IP, all of those who match Spain. And we only have 134 records. So if I go ahead and close this, every time I go into my contacts dashboard, I'll be able to see this contact-based view. I can go back to all contacts, and I can jump right back to my custom view. Another cool thing about this dashboard is that now that you have your custom views and your filters chosen, you can also customize what columns you're seeing in here. So let's say I don't need to see the phone number and I don't need to see the contact owner because I know all of these contacts are going to be owned by me. So I'm going to get rid of these and I'm going to add those columns that really matter to me. So I'm going to go to edit columns. Now I can get rid of the columns that don't matter to me. So I'm going to get rid of phone number, and I'm also going to get rid of lead status, and I am also going to get rid of create date. Now let's add the property we created. So I want to see their answers on this one. I'm going to click on it. So now I'm going to have these 3 columns on my custom view. And you can edit these as many times as you want. Now let's take a quick look into the actual contact records that we have stored. So if you place your mouse over the name or the email, you'll be able to see this little tab over here that says preview. If you click on it, this tab over here will appear and you'll have a small summary of all we know about this contact. But if you want to have a closer look, you can click on the name and you will see an advanced window with all of the customer's data. Here, from the left toolbar, you can either take notes if you recently had contact with them, or get in touch directly with them via email or call. You can also create tasks for yourself or schedule meetings. At the top, you will see these tabs. So if you click on the activity tab, you will be able to see all of the activity and engagement this contact has had with your system over time. You can also expand each activity. You can also see if there are any notes left on this contact, either by your teammates or your sales representatives. If there are any emails that have been sent out, calls, tasks, or meetings. So everything will be logged into this tab. On the right-hand toolbar, you'll be able to see all of this information. So you'll be able to see, for example, any companies that you have on your CRM and that are currently associated to this contact. You can also see if this contact has any deals open or transactions that are currently open. Tickets, if this contact has opened any tickets recently. Attachments, you'll also be able to see all of the documents you or your teammates have attached to their emails or communications with this contact. You'll see playbooks, invoices, if he has been enrolled in any workflows or is currently enrolled in any workflow, if he has attended any events, festival concerts, leads, or if any feedback has been left on this contact. Another very useful tool on this contact view is this section over here, the About This Contact. This section allows you to see information or predetermined information on your contact. So right now we can see the contact owner, the first name, last name, email, phone number, country and region. But let's say that I need to see some other information for me to be able to work with this contact. So we can click here, customize properties, and add the properties that I need. So I would just click here and select the properties that I want to see. So let's say I want to see their website because I want to know and understand more about the company they work at. So I'm just going to add this. Let's say I also want to see and understand their job title, so I can know whether they are decision makers or not. And also we want to know where they're based. So we're also going to add the IP country over here because the country field wasn't filled by them. So we're going to use a property that can track their IP country automatically in this case. So we're going to add the IP country. And once this is settled, you can also rearrange these fields in the order that you want to see them and get rid of the ones you don't need. So that's pretty much how you can customize these. You go ahead and save it. And now you're going to be able to see all this information every time you click on a contact. You can also create property cards. Property cards will allow you to have a set of similar properties grouped in one place, so you can manage the information in a more organized way. And you'll also be able to see here the communications descriptions to see how you can contact this specific record and the website activity, so you can see their engagement with your website over the last few weeks. Now, let's take a look on how to set a company on your CRM. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna click on companies. Here, you'll see a very similar interface to the one we just saw for contacts, and you'll see all your company's records listed here. You can also filter them by the same filters: company owner, create date, last activity date, lead status, and the advanced filters, which will show the properties for companies, and you can filter them by them. Also, remember that all of this information will be available to anyone on your team. Whether they're from the marketing or sales or service team, HubSpot centralizes all this information, making it available to all of them. You also have the preview available, and if you click on the company, you'll go to the specific view for this company in particular. So, as you can see, the company view is exactly the same as the one we have for contacts. You'll be able to take action from here, take notes, send emails, arrange calls, set tasks for yourself or your teammates, and also arrange meetings. On this left bar, you'll see everything you need to know about this company, and if you want to customize the properties that you're seeing, you'll be able to do so as well. And then on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see the contacts associated to this company, the deals, the playbooks that have been used, or the recommended playbooks that you can use to contact this company, tickets, time logs, the account overview, quotes that have been made, services, and some other information if you have other connected apps in here. And you'll also be able to see the activities, the overview, and all the notes and emails that your teammates have crossed with this company. So now you might be wondering how you can create your own contact records and companies in HubSpot. And we're gonna take a look on how to do that. So let's go to contacts. You're gonna find these two options at the top right corner. So you're gonna find import and create contacts. The first one you can use to import databases that you already have in Excel sheets. And the second one, create contact, allows you to create contacts manually. So we're gonna show you step by step how to do both. So first we're gonna click on import, and you're gonna find these three options. So you have either import from files, that this is what we're gonna try right now. And then you have sync from apps if you have HubSpot connected to other CRMs, and migrating data in case you wanna do this. This is more technical in case you wanna do this also with another CRM that you have. So let's do the first one, and we're gonna click on import a file. We're gonna select start import, and HubSpot's gonna ask us which kind of data is in our files. In this case, we're just gonna click on contacts and click on next. Then we need to choose a file. So I'm gonna choose the file from my computer. We're gonna choose the file, and after that, you can choose here if you wanna create new contacts and update contacts in case you already have contacts in your Excel sheet that exist in your database, if you just wanna create new contacts, or if you just wanna update existing contacts. In this case, we're gonna click on the first one. Also, once you import this Excel sheet, you can also create contact associations, which is highly recommended so that you don't have duplicates. So we're gonna click on this as well. And then depending on the language you have the name of your columns in your Excel sheet, you're gonna need to select one of these. In this case, my Excel sheet has the name of its columns in English, so I'm gonna keep English. So now HubSpot is gonna show me how it's gonna map the data into the CRM. In this case, the contacts are good and ready to import. In this case, HubSpot cannot make any contact association because all these contacts are new. It has found 0 errors and 4 rows. And the cool thing about HubSpot is that it's gonna automatically map your column of your Excel sheet with the most appropriate already existing property. So in this case, name matches with name, last name matches with the property last name, email with email, city with city. And then we have favorite beverage, which is a new property that I'm gonna need in HubSpot. And this column cannot be associated with a already existing property. So HubSpot is going to give you the option to create a property for this one, which we will in fact need. So we're going to create the property. Create new property, favorite beverage. HubSpot is already giving you like a default name for it. And it's a single line text that is going to be filled out with information we have. So review property details. We're going to keep the label, favorite beverage. The object type is going to be contact. The brand is going to be the same we've been using. And the group is going to be contact information. Then we click on create. And all this information should be now stored within this property. Great. So now we should be good to go. So we're going to click on next. The import name database should be fine. We're not going to use this very much. And then it's going to ask us to select the legal basis for processing a contact's data. So we're going to choose, in this case, legitimate interest, because the people that are found in my Excel sheet have already given me explicit consent. And now we're going to go and finish this import. So now we have 4 new records and we can see them here in contacts. So now we have here our 4 contacts filtered by this import in particular. And if we want to see, for example, the new property we just created for favorite beverage, and we want to see that in our view, we can select that property so that it shows on our view. So we have favorite beverage. We're going to add this and we want to see that right next to email. And we're going to also add city, which was one of the properties that was imported. And we're also going to drag this up here. We're going to click on apply. So now we have that information available. We have their city and we have their favorite beverage over here. And you can also create a list, and we can also add this view so we can have access to this customized view. So now let's take a look on how to create a contact manually. So we're going to click here and create contact. And we're going to start by adding their email. So the first thing it's going to ask us is for the contact's email. So let's make this one up. I'm going to be the contact owner for this contact in particular. And you can also edit the fields you want to have here when you're creating contacts manually. In this case, we have some predetermined properties, but I don't need to fill all of them out. I don't know the job title or phone number or any of these. That's okay. Let's say the company name is Nike. And then the legal basis for processing this contacts data. HubSpot is always going to ask you this. So we're just going to choose the same, but you can choose whichever is more appropriate for you. And the brands, well, we keep the same. So we're going to click on create. And you should be good to go. So HubSpot is going to take you directly into the contact view. And you can see anything related to this contact. All the previous information, we don't have much because we didn't fill out much. But here we'll see the same options we have already explored in this type of contact view.
Okay, so we had a bit of time, so I thought I'd share that video with you. But if you want to watch the full video, obviously there's lots of videos on YouTube. That's just one. But I thought I'll fill in that time so you can actually watch that. I'm going to share the link to that video on YouTube. So if you want to watch it later, if you found it useful, if you could understand what was going on there. So basically, it was about creating contacts, adding properties that you need to collect, information you need to collect, how to add them, to create a form, to create communication, how to communicate with those potential leads. Afidi, you got a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I heard you say something about you'd shared the slides. I don't know if I misheard you, but
Yeah,
I
I did
can't find
share
them.
it. Yeah, I'll share it again.
Okay, brilliant, thanks.
No worries. Yeah, so it's a big file, so you just have to wait a few minutes. Yeah, any more questions, anyone? You're good. Yeah, so the main thing today is just to understand the CRM is where we manage our customer service as well. And customer service is, I mean, we've all had experience of customer service as a customer or as a business, right? Main thing is understanding the customer's problems, having empathy, understanding that, where they're coming from, trying to solve their problem, having policies in place so that we can protect ourselves, protect the customer, protect the business, being aware of GDPR, being aware of, other laws that are, apply, like trading standard, for example. So you have trade laws in place. Um, just kind of understanding that the CRM is where you do all this from. Okay, so as an online business, it's a central hub where you do all your collect all your leads, nurture those leads, they make the sale, you keep them loyal, you have that communication going on. Any other things that go on, like for example, if they want a refund, if they need support, all through the CRM, and also communicating with your team. So on that video, you saw how everyone can communicate with each other, everyone can see that information as well. All right. So that's HubSpot. HubSpot's been around for a long time. They also provide a lot of content, videos, training material, and all sorts, right? So it's a good one to go for. But obviously there are others. Zoho's one that we use in Think Employment. But there's many CRMs. So you have to look at pricing, you have to look at features, and decide which one you're going to go for, and then basically get that training done and be equipped with how to use it. Okay, so that's it from me, everyone, and that is your slide deck. And I will see you soon. Take care of yourself and have a great evening.
Could I
Take care. Have a
just
great